One of the most common things that people come to me for, not only, I guess, in an Akashic record reading, but also in a family constellation, are what I call like blocks, right? Um, some people feel stuck. Some people usually call it a block. Um, Sometimes it can feel like resistance, but ultimately, I always like to explain to people that it's a loyalty. And the more I work with people in family constellations, the more I've done my own constellations, family constellations, I understand that a lot of these blocks are actually just unconscious loyalties towards their family, towards things that they've lived, towards their pain. It could be towards a lot of things. What does loyalty really mean when we talk about the family system? One of the main things is the sense of belonging and not feeling excluded. Primarily because when we're born, it's the only way to survive. If we get excluded, we won't survive. We're little babies. We need to have our family close, and they need to take care of us. And a lot of times, as children, we stay connected through loyalty, and then it becomes almost like a pattern. We repeat it, and it becomes something that we loop into. Um, and we can see it a lot in like relationships, right? Relationship patterns, struggles with money. That's something I constellate a lot for people. People just not being able to show up and show who they are and focus on themselves. And even like this guilt with success or their own projects or feeling like they have their own path becomes really hard for them to live their own life. Um, and what that energy really is the person isn't looking forward, they're looking backwards. Common things, I've written them down here because I don't want to forget stuff, and I tend to forget things, is people tend to say to me, I can't move forward. I feel stuck. I feel like I self-sabotage or I sabotage my success. I feel guilty when I'm thriving, especially if I see that my family or the people around me are struggling. I feel like I'm repeating a pattern. I keep repeating the same thing. It's not conscious. The person that comes to me or that you might speak to or that maybe you're working with, they want to move forward. They are conscious of this kind of path in front of them. They kind of know what they want a little bit. Maybe it's not 100% clear. That doesn't really matter. But their nervous system identifies with or aligns with a familiar feeling, a repetition. And unconsciously, it's keeping them safe in their family. It's keeping them included. It's keeping them part of a unit, a system, a clan. And a lot of times, if you think about it, maybe ask yourself this question: do I feel that if I succeed or I pave another path for myself, does it feel like I'm rebelling? Or do I blame myself? We kind of have to really go inward and feel into that. And there's a bunch of phrases that we can use, healing phrases in a constellation, to look at this. But it is this energy of like, the phrase that I like to think of is, you are the big ones, mom and dad, or whatever parental figures. Generally, it still is mom and dad, our biological parents. If they didn't exist, at some point we wouldn't be here. I am the little one. I take my life back and I live it fully. Um, it's I give back to you what I'm holding unconsciously to protect you, to feel included, whatever that feeling is. And I take control of my own life and I look at my life in front of me and I move forward. This restores the flow of life. The reality is that growth doesn't separate us from our family, but unconsciously we believe that because we're scared. And some of this might sound like a little bit out there, right? It's unconscious. And I'm telling you, I see this over and over again. And why do you think that things repeat? It's unconscious, right? And there's like the flow of life and the flow of everything just cut off, and we repeat the pattern. How many times have you heard somebody say, I don't want to be like my mom, but then you looking from the outside and you realize they're doing the same thing. They don't consciously want to, but it's a repetition, because if I don't do it the same, or if I rebel, right? Because there's this energy of I want to do it differently, and there's almost like anger towards, for example, your mom, right? Like, I didn't like how she parented me, so I'm angry, so I'm gonna make sure I don't do it that way. I tend to find people repeat it, um, unconsciously, obviously. And you can honor the pain, you can honor what's happened in your family, you can honor all of it without repeating the pattern. You can hold love, you can understand the story, you can give it back, and you don't have to repeat it. This takes a lot of making the unconscious conscious and understanding, and that you don't have to shrink yourself to belong. Because I think a lot of times we do that. That's something I've seen myself do. And also I want a big takeaway for this short video to be, figure out if you are playing a role in your family that doesn't correspond to you. For example, if you are being your mom's mom or your father's mom, or you are a partner to one of your parents for whatever reason unconsciously, this keeps things like so chaotic that you can't take your place in your family and you can't move forward. And then you unconsciously connect to the pain, to the story. I'll give you a good example here. For example, I see this a lot with uh, certain clients and people that I work with, where they are parenting their parents. They feel like they need to take care of them. This is from a young age, right? That they feel like their parents weren't responsible, so they almost like have to parent their parents, and they're already looking out for their emotions or making sure that they're okay. It takes you away from your role as a child or the daughter or the son, and that starts to block everything. So it's restoring order in the sense of my role, who I am within my family system, making sure that you are sitting in that place fully, and that you aren't trying to quote unquote fix things, right? Um, the loyalty shifts when we take our place. A lot of times, it could be that simple. Sometimes it's a lot deeper, where there is so much pain from, it could be parents or even grandparents, or several generations back, that can feel so heavy that you might have not even met that ancestor, you might have not even met that family member, but you're still holding it unconsciously and holding on to some kind of struggle, because who am I? Like, this is kind of the unconscious, like, who am I to move forward and thrive and live this wonderful life of abundance and happiness if all of the people that came before me didn't? And the reality is that they want you to. I not only connect to this through the family system, but I connect to this through mediumship. Nobody wants you to feel held back, but if you don't hold on to that pain, unconsciously think you're going to be excluded. And it's painful, it's scary. We have to just make the unconscious conscious, put things in place, and move forward. So my kind of message here is, sometimes we think we're blocked because there's something crazy happening outside of us, when in reality it's all within ourselves that we need to work. And that can unlock realizations, it can unlock energy, it can unlock a path in front of us, it can unlock so many things. Kind of an exercise to think about is maybe asking some of these questions, right? Am I not in my place in my family? Am I parenting somebody? Am I trying to take a place in my family that's not mine? Is somebody missing? Has somebody been excluded? Because if somebody's been excluded, you may be loyal to them. It's what's missing, and where am I not fully sitting in my own energy and power in my family? Obviously, you could do a family constellation, you could get an Akashic record reading, you can do a bunch of stuff here to kind of bring the unconscious conscious. Once that's conscious, we need to move that energy and really give that kind of energy of, if you're holding onto the pain, back to that person so they can carry it with dignity. If it is that you are not sitting in your place in your family, in your position, in your role, to be able to come back to that place, so that the path in front of you can open and you can feel abundant, you can feel free, and really take this gift of life and do something really extraordinary with it.